Yeah, thank you guys for having me on today. Just to share a little bit about my story. Um, I met this community 5 years ago and a week. I think I just hit my 5 year and 1 week anniversary. And to put it into a little bit of perspective, and like Scooty said, average people. I like that. Thanks, man. I'm gonna take that. I'll put that on like a bumper sticker or something. Like I am average. Average people doing above average stuff. But yeah, like before meeting this group of people, I was extremely painfully shy. In fact, my own mother, growing up on the dairy farm, I grew up milking cows for a living. My own mother used to call me painfully shy because you don't really develop personal skills when you talk to cows every day at 3:30 in the morning and 7 o'clock at night. Anyway, and so when I first met this group and I decided I want to become a real estate investor. My wife was 6 months pregnant with our first little boy. And I remember thinking like, maybe if I could follow what these guys are doing and do one deal a year. That was my goal. My mindset was that big, that if I could do one deal a year, every single year for the next 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 years, that maybe I'd be able to retire. And after meeting this group and surrounding myself with a bunch of people that were doing some amazing things. I mean, I saw people buying houses and fixing them up and turning around and selling them for $100,000 more. I saw people picking up properties using other people's mortgages, buying properties, nothing out of their pocket, and just thinking like, oh my gosh, like I think more than a deal a year would be possible. And it took me, let's see, it took me about 3 years to do my first 10 real estate deals. But to do my most recent 10 real estate deals took me about just less than a month. And instead of being able to hit my goal of doing one deal a year, after joining this community and being a part of these guys for 5 years, I've been able to do over a real estate deal a month since we got started. And in fact, I think I'm approaching the average of about 2 deals a month since I got started. And it would not have been possible had I not met these people that were willing to share with me all of the knowledge that they have. And it was so crazy because I knew that if I wanted to get into real estate investing, it was buy a house, find a tenant, and hopefully they pay rent. But when they started showing me these strategies that literally, like, my entire life and even 5 minutes before, some of the strategies that they were showing me didn't even exist. And that's one thing that you'll find when somebody shares with you a cool strategy that's not just like out there in the world, and all of a sudden something that didn't exist before now exists. You're just like, holy cow, well, I'm going to do that. And so it's been an awesome revolutionary experience to go from being that guy that literally, in fact, some people have heard the story of when I met the woman who became my wife. It went a little, because again, I was so shy. She had to walk up to me and say, Daine, are you ever going to ask me for my phone number or what? And literally, and I'll tell you guys how we actually got engaged maybe another time, but equally as funny, because I was so shy and so afraid. When I would meet new people, I would stutter, I would sweat. And when I worked, and in fact, I think somebody mentioned that I worked at the Apple Store for a little while. I worked in the closet in the back where I counted the iPhones that were coming in the back door, the back shipping door, basically. And so going from that space in my life of being super shy. In fact, it was funny. I actually had to learn what a realtor was before joining this community. I had no clue. I knew the term realtor, but I didn't know what they did or what they were used for. And the whole concept of how there's two realtors on one transaction in a real estate deal, it was just bizarre to me. I had to learn so many things coming from such a naive and such an ignorant space. And the difference was really two things. It was the knowledge that these people were willing to share with me, and it was the relationships that I was able to build. And those two things, just building my knowledge and building my relationships, made a world of difference to where now, I've quit my job. My wife has not had to work since the day she had that baby, our first child. We've got three of them now. It's crazy. We're like glutton for punishment. We got three little boys, and super fun. 4 years old, 2 years old, and 0 years old, and super fun. So I am just eternally grateful for the people in this group that are so willing to reach out and share with somebody like me that you'd probably argue like, maybe hopefully this guy has success. Like I hope that they will actually do something with this. But anyway, there's my story. I love giving back now. Let me just say this too. When you achieve success, and success is defined by you, but when you achieve your own success, it will be inevitable. I promise you, mark my words, it will be inevitable that you will want to turn around and share with the next guy or the next gal what worked for you. Human nature states that we inherently want to help other people. And when you achieve, again, your definition of success, you will want to turn around and help the next person with what you're learning, with what you're doing, and with what you're watching other people around you do. And so I encourage you, like, be the next guy, be the next girl that gets to tell the story. Pay it forward to somebody.
So I
Yeah,
got a
go
question.
ahead, Michael. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I got a
Right on.
question. And this is really awesome, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us. My question is, what was the fastest deal that you did? Can you tell us a story about the fastest deal you did?
Define fast.
Like by the time you closed on it and then sold it.
So I just did one a week ago. Yeah, a week ago today, actually, where I bought a house for $430,000. And I live here in Utah, and I bought this house in Stansbury Park. So just, I don't know, about a 45-minute drive from my house. So I bought it for 430,000. And on the same day, I sold it for 473,000. Now, this one was interesting because not only did I buy it and I sold it on the same day, but I sold it on seller financing. And that person, so I put a down payment of $64,500, and I sold it on seller financing, and that person gave me $100,000 as a down payment to turn around and sell this to this person. And so not only did I make money up front, but I will also continue to receive a little over $1,000 a month in cash flow. And I do not own this thing. I'm not a landlord. I will never fix this house. I will never take a call about fixing a water heater or fishing action figures out of toilets. I just get cash flow by being essentially the bank on this deal. And I think it's one of my new favorite ways to do real estate because I don't own it. I don't have to own anything, and I get a lump sum of cash and cash flow for, who knows how many years until they refinance or sell it or whatever. But yeah, so I guess, what would you call that? 24-hour turnaround on a deal.
Yeah.
The most I ever made at my day job was $13.50 an hour. And that's when I thought I was doing pretty good in my roofing job and working at Apple. I've never had a job that paid more than that until I owned real estate, I guess you could say. And the nice thing about real estate is that even though I picked up this house and picked up this cash flow, it doesn't mean I have to work harder. I work like 30 hours a week right now. Monday through Thursday, I work 30 hours a week. I give my wife a Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend every single week. And we like to travel a ton. And so every time I pick up another real estate, it's just like, I don't have to work harder. I just increase my dollars per hour, basically. And I've never seen anything like it in the business world. And I mean, in essence, if you start thinking about real estate as a business owner, then the dollars per hour can just go through the roof for the hours that you want to spend each and every week.
Right. We have 115 people here live right now, which is amazing. Will you tell us the story about your very first deal when you were that shy guy, still not knowing what the heck was going on? Tell us about that deal.
Yeah. So in brief, you go from credibility. I call it going from credibility 0 to credibility 0.1. And I remember being in a space thinking like, oh, well, I've never done anything. I've never closed it. I mean, I had never even bought a house in my life or even my family. And so I remember thinking like, how in the world is this going to
Wait.
work?
So hold on. You bought your first house without owning a house.
Yeah.
You did your
I
first real estate
think,
deal. Okay, this is important for people to hear. You did your first real estate deal and you didn't even own your own house yet.
yeah, I think,
Okay.
I think we bought 3 homes. We bought 3 homes before I ever bought a house for my wife. So
I'm
first
sorry.
deal, credibility zero. I had no money. I was still roofing, making $13.50 an hour. And and it was interesting because being a shy guy, and I have to say this part, but being a guy, I remember like, all right, I've learned all these things. Where's the deals? And I had a rude awakening that I knew I had to now learn how to have a conversation with people. And if you learn how to have a very structured conversation, it doesn't feel like you're meeting people, and it doesn't feel scary. It's just like, oh, when I meet somebody, I just need to ask them these questions. And so I did that with 2 people. I met a gentleman and I asked him a bunch of questions, and we started talking about real estate investing. And all of a sudden he's like, dude, you should buy my property. It's for sale. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, for sale doesn't mean it's a deal. And so I asked him all these questions that, again, I was trained to ask these questions. And so there I was asking these questions, and I find out that this gentleman is in trouble. And then literally within a few days, I chat with another gentleman, because I'm just going through some of the challenges that this community has for people that are new. And they're like, hey, like when you're new, try to have a conversation a day about real estate investing with people. And so I'm just following the challenge, have a conversation per day with people. And so I talked to that guy that's got the deal, and I talked to this other guy literally within the same week. And the conversation went very differently. The first guy was like, hey, you should buy my property. The other guy is like, dude, I have tons of money and I have no time. You know what we should do is next time you find a deal that looks like what you're telling me that you're looking for, you should call me and let's look at this together. And so I was just like, wait a second. I was just talking to this guy, about this other property. You and I should look at this deal. However, in fact, you know what? This means I already have one on the table. Dude, I was so new. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And so here I am in the middle of these 2 people. One guy has a property and he's in trouble. One guy has money and he's got no time. And so I was able to call up an attorney and say, help. And it was so funny because we were like drawing on a napkin of like what we should do. And I was just like, I call up the attorney and I'm like screenshotting this napkin drawing. Hey, I think this is what we want to do. Can you like put this into legal terms? And the attorney's like, oh yeah, I do that every day. And I was like, one extra caveat, I have no money, Mr. Attorney. Can you help me? Can you help me like do this? And he's like, oh, no worries. I'll just get paid at the closing table when the deal goes through. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. And so the attorney gets involved. He structures everything where this guy's money helps this guy's property, and everybody's happy, and everybody gets paid. And because I was in the middle of all that, not only did I get paid a lump sum up front of a few $1,000s, but I got a few $100s in cash flow from that deal for 3 years. And we actually just sold that property in January this year. And that was literally the first time I had ever received a real estate paycheck. We're on the monthly. And then when we sold it this year, not only had I been receiving that paycheck for about 3 years, but then got another lump sum of cash in the beginning of January. And I was able to say I sold the first deal that we picked up, got paid all along. But now it's like, oh man, like that was the first one. It's kind of like the first kiss when when you meet your wife and you kiss her the first time. That deal meant a lot to me. So I'm kind of like, oh man, I should buy that another time. just for the reminiscence of the first deal. But anyway.
So how much do you owe on your house and your car now?
I bought it April of 2017 and paid it off in August. And so I was able to take that house, or the house I'm sitting in right now, and open up, oh man, $350,000 in lines of credit. No mortgage on the place. I got massive lines now. And I was able to take that cash and leverage it into a bunch more properties that are generating thousands of dollars a month.